Today we're going to replace the steering wheel on a Range Rover L405. Most of our videos are about vacuum cleaners, this one's about Range Rovers. So on our Range Rover here we have this all leather steering wheel, which we're going to replace with this half wood steering wheel. So, where to start? You need to go to the battery in the boot. Take out the spare wheel and you'll find the battery. The left-hand terminal is the negative terminal. A 10mm socket separates it, like that. Put something in between the terminal pole and the wire to stop it connecting while you're working. Now look here on the steering wheel, you see that little slot? You can push a screwdriver, or in this case we're using a little torque screwdriver, into that slot. And here's what you're actuating inside. There's a little spring clip here, and actuating that allows the airbag to be removed. So here we go, through that little slot, and there goes the airbag. There are two clips at the top that you release just by pushing it up, or in this case sideways, which you'll see any moment now the airbag will come off. There we are. Now there's two little looms connected to it, the most important of which for the airbag. There's this little orange clip that must pop up like that in order to release the clip to allow it to be removed. And there it goes. And there's another clip that you release like that. And you put a little blade down the side of it, just to release the little clip that holds it in. Just slowing this down a little bit so you can see exactly how it's done. Like that. And that now allows the airbag to be moved out of the way while you do the rest of the job. So there are two clips here that need to be removed. There's the little pink one that's actually very, very stiff to get out, we found. And underneath it there's that big one. There's no pin holding that one in. That one will just pull out. You need a Torx T50 socket now to undo the central bolt in the steering wheel. And now the steering wheel's ready to come off. Behind it's a little mechanism where the wires connect to with two pegs. Check the position it's in and make sure it goes back in the same position without doing a full rotation when you refit it. That's very important. So now we have the steering wheel on the desk. Here's the new one, and here's the old one that we're about to strip down. So we have to take off the trims first, like this. They just pop off. Flat blade screwdriver with a tea towel or something around it. They come off quite easy. Nothing holding them on at all. And now we take the paddles off. You need for this a T20 screwdriver, if you haven't got one. If you look below the video here on YouTube, you'll find that that's actually one of the products we sell, a T20 screwdriver, and we'll link you to it. So there's the second screw here, which is all that holds the switch pack in. Same on the other side, one screw to remove the flappy paddle. Unplug it. And the second screw will allow the switch pack to be released. There's nothing else holding in the switch pack other than the little peg you see on the left hand side here. So as long as you pull them nice and straight, they're a bit stiff, but they'll come out. You'll see there's a wiring loom there. pull the wiring loom through, unplug the plug, and then do the same on the other side. It's probably worth taking a photograph of the wiring loom on your wheel as you're doing this. There's a little cable clip there that you need to release. It looks like a cable tie, but it's not, it's actually a clip. It's got two little fins on it. Here you see we're releasing them with a small flat blade. First one and then the other. That allows that little clip to be removed. Now at this point you should probably photograph the wiring to make sure it goes back in the right place. But it's a fairly simple job. There's a little module here that sits in a rubber socket that comes out. And the rest of the wiring is located around these channels, as you see. And out comes the loom. And now we're ready to start rebuilding it. So into the socket goes the little module, which I believe is for the heated elements of the steering wheel. If you've got that, most cars will have. And this bit's just a reverse of disassembly. Just pop the wires back in the channels. Feed the plug through to the back for the flappy paddle. Plug your switch pack back in. Relocate it nice and straight so nothing goes wrong. You don't want to break one of the plastic tabs. Same on the other side, always quite straightforward when you took something apart. Putting it back together again, we hope. So refitting the screws that hold the switch packs in. Plug in the flappy paddles, relocate those, and the same T20 screw goes back in. And same on the other side. We speeded this up a little bit so it's not tedious for you to watch. Okay, so these trims simply push back on, a reverse of the same way you removed them. And now we're ready to go back on the car. Observe the two pegs, make sure that that mechanism behind is in the same place so that plug can locate properly. You have those two plugs there to refit. Make sure everything goes back in the same location it came from. And now you've got the central T50 Torx bolt. Obviously, because this is your steering wheel, make sure that that is very, very tight. It's not the sort of thing you want coming loose on the motorway. And let's swing on it a little bit more. Now to refit the airbag. There's the small plug at the side there, and this central plug only goes in one way. Be careful with it to make sure you locate it correctly. And having done so, be certain that that little orange tab is snapped home into place before you refit it. Line it up and it should just push back on and locate in its 3 little clips. Take away whatever you was blocking the battery terminal with, put the battery terminal back on, the car will come back into life. You won't lose any memory settings here. Start the car, make sure you've got no warning lights that you shouldn't have, and Bob's your uncle. There's your new steering wheel fitted.